Well, I had a dope experience this past Saturday. I want to share with you. And before I do that, I got to give a shout out to Cynthia from Southgate and her brother. I can't remember his name, but I met her brother at a comedy show this past Saturday, Lonzo, and I was wearing my Uncle Jam's Army Skateland shirt, the one I wore last week.
Okay.
So I passed by him, and he points at me. And then he points at his sister points at me. Oh man, yeah, Skateland. And they went in this whole thing and started talking about Skateland and the good old days. Apparently, he used to help Radio and Joe Cooley move their crates. And I mentioned that I do a show with Alonzo Williams. Oh, Alonzo Williams, World Class Wrecking Crew, man, yeah. So we had a cool conversation for about maybe 3 or 4 or 5 minutes while the comedy thing's going on. I was trying to keep it down, but it was kind of a little exciting, you know.
Right.
But the cool part of this story, Lonzo, and it was cool and kind of sad, but he is in the early stages of dementia. And he doesn't remember what happened 5 minutes ago. His sister tells me this after him and I talk. I had no idea while I was talking to him. It's just like I'm talking to you. You know, his sister told me, man, thank you for talking to him. You know, he's in the early stages of dementia. He doesn't know what he did 5 minutes ago, but he remembers everything about the good old days. So it was a really cool experience and it almost brought a tear to my eye after she told me that, man. I'm like, damn, I'm not even the celebrity in this case. It's really you. I'm just kind of a, offshoot, but it was just really cool to see how your time, hip hop in general, affected a man who now doesn't remember what he did a few minutes ago, but he remembers everything about 1981, 1982. What do you think about that, man?
I think that's amazing, dude. And you never know the impact you have on somebody's life until you hear a story like this right here. They can't remember where they put their keys down 5 minutes if they walk into the house. They can tell you everything that happened back in 1985, and to be a part of that, and especially as a fond memory. And I think that's probably one of the things that my era of hip hop did that a lot of cats, current hip hop don't have the same memories 25, 30 years down the road. And man, I mean, we did so and so, man. We had a ball over Eva, we had a ball to do those, ball to skate, man. I remember the niggas were shooting at us over there, so and so. Whole different memories, dude. And sometimes you don't want to go back down memory lane. I remember speaking of memory lane. And recognize I'm buying the suit one day, right before Straight Outta Compton came out. And dude, hey, what's up, Lonzo? I could tell by the way he was built. He just got out of jail. He got that freshly buff jail vibe. And I'm like, yeah, I recognize him, but I didn't really recognize him personally. I knew his face, but I couldn't tell you what his name was. Yeah, man. I said, you got the movie coming out. Yeah, I said, yeah, I'm gonna go check it out, man. I can't check it out, man. I can't see it, man. It's gonna bring back too many negative memories. I'm like, dude. And this is something that people don't realize when music, movies, certain eras bring back certain memories, some good, some very good, and some not so good. Some are downright messed up. They will trigger things in your brain that you try to suppress or try to forget. And my man was like, nah, man, I can't go see that. That era was not good. I just got home from that era, dude. That era was not good for me. Okay, I can understand that. So yeah, I'm glad to be a part of somebody's era that was a positive reaction, man.
Yeah, that was dope. Shout out to Cynthia and her brother. I can't remember her brother's name, but shout out to them. I'm gonna send this to them via DM after this show. But let's continue our conversation, Lonzo. From last week, we did part 1 of our Straight Outta Compton series. Straight Outta Compton released 10 years ago, August 13th. 14th, 2015, 10 years ago. We went over a few things last week, and if anyone missed the conversation, I encourage everybody to go out there. I put clips up, and also we have the full interview from last Tuesday as well. But Straight Outta Compton, 10 years ago. All right, what was your favorite part of the movie, Lonzo?
What was my favorite part of the movie, man? I guess when I was it was actually one of my scenes with me and Dre. I'm combing my Jerry curl and cussing Dre's ass out. I was there when that scene was shot. I watched that scene unfold, and it was funny then and it's funny now because when that scene was going down, me and Dre was sitting in a video village, looking at it on the video, and this little white lady who's the script director, she keeps track of the script, and she don't know she don't know me from a can of beans. She looked me dead in the face. That Lonzo character sure does have a foul mouth. I said, he sure the hell does, don't he? And she had no idea who she was talking to. So that right there just brings back that little silly ass memory of that particular situation. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. And I think I think the pool scene was kind of funny, was kind of cool too. You know, the backyard pools, the pool party. I think that was kind of cool. A lot of it was so fictional, man. It was like, man, what is that? What did that happen? You know, so.
Oh, we're gonna get into that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get into that. All right. What was your least favorite part of the movie? If you could pick one that was like, yeah, I didn't like that at all, one bit.
Seeing Eazy in the hospital. Seeing Eazy in the hospital and have to go through all that shit. And then depicting him as being like he was broke. He had to go back to selling weed. You selling weed, you live in a mansion. I mean, you got to sell a whole bunch of weed. You can't bag up enough weed to justify spending, covering the cost of in a mansion. That ain't gonna work. So, I mean, that whole little situation, that's just some Hollywood bullshit, man. They just threw it there for the hell of it. It make no sense whatsoever. This dude sitting up bagging up weed like he finna get his hustle back on the streets. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, and that is probably the one part that most people have a problem with when I've watched interviews over the past 10 years. That specific scene of Eazy E bagging up some weed in his house in Norwalk. Now, we do know we did have the house in Norwalk, but, you know, why do you think, and, you know, I know you say Hollywood BS, but why do you think if you had to put a finger on it, why would they even put that scene in there if everyone involved, Ice Cube, Dre, they all know that's not 100%?
I don't know, man. You know, they always have, no matter how high a brother gets in most movies, he has a low period. And that's, you know, and aside from him dying the way he did, that was his only low period. I mean, he lost Dre, he lost Cube, but he kept on making things happen. So they didn't bring in Bone Thugs and Harmony. They didn't bring none of them cats in to really make an impact in the movie. So they just they talked about it, but they didn't really show their value. So he had to have a low point. You know, you have to have a high point to come up, and then the dip, and then the delusion. I mean, the outro, I guess.
So just Hollywood bullshit. That makes sense. They have to have a climax and a this and a that to make a whole story go. Okay, I get that. All right. In the movie, there was a scene where Jerry is trying to talk Eazy out of having Suge Knight unalived. Do you know if that was true? Do you know if Eazy really wanted to get rid of Suge Knight in that way?
I heard. I can't verify. I heard that it was a thought.